So for the next update, we're going to work on petals. So you're going to go to your first petal sheet, and you'll see that each one has the shape itself, the instructions, and then one for you to trace and room for you to practice. So we're going to start easy, just with a little arch, and you can trace directly on there. And then just practice. You can do these thinner or thicker, as the next one is the thick arch. So it's the same thing, that upside down U shape. And again, you can make them taller, shorter. Just practice that shape, and then once you get comfortable, you can do more with it. The next one we're going to bring to a point at the top. It's still that curve shape, it's just that we're going to have a point at the top of it. So for this, you're just going to curve your hand slightly as you go up, and then come down from that same point. So up, down, up, down. And the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get with that. For number 4, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to exaggerate a little bit more to make it thicker. And if you did the mandala worksheet that I provided, some of these are very similar to those. The next one we're going to do is what I call a rounded M. Some people say it looks like a tooth, or I can't think of anything else right now, but it's if you take that U shape and kind of squeeze it at the top. So what we're going to do is curve like we're going to make that U shape, add a little lip, and come back down. So up, around, down. The SpongeBob "bring it around down" comes to mind. And you can exaggerate it, you can deepen it. Again, as you get comfortable, you can change up the shape somewhat, but these are just the basics to get you going. This one is very similar to our arch, but we're going to have the bottom be closer together than the points at the top. So we're going to start in the middle and swoop around and out. So you'll go out as you do that curve versus just straight up and down. This one is kind of like an 8. It's very similar to the curve that we had in the M. So we're just going to make that same lip, or dip if you want to call it that, twice on the sides. So again, very similar to our upside down U, but we're just adding some squiggles. This one's almost like a bowling pin, or those clown games at arcades that you throw the ball trying to knock them over. Like they have like the big nose and like the big hair. That's the kind of shape you're going for there. For number 8, I'm just calling this the flame. It's very similar to our pointed arch, but it just has a little bit of a swerve to it. So we're doing the same beginning motion of over and up, and then we're just going straight down with that little S curve. So you go out and up and down, and again you can exaggerate as much or as little as you like. This one is very similar to our rounded M, but we're just adding more bumps to it. So you go up almost like you're doing your U shape, and then you just add a middle and bring it back down. So bump, bump, bump. And again, you can change those depending on what look you like, but you're just adding 3 little bumps at the top, and then you're coming in similar to our round oval shape, where the middles are like a smaller width than the top. For our fan, we're going to do just kind of an exaggerated, almost like the arch, but it's a little bit more controlled in these corners. So you're going to go up and out, almost a straight line, and back down. And again, these can be as wide or as thin and as pointed or as round as you like. The seashell is very similar. If you combine the bumps and the fan together, you just go up, have some soft squiggles, and back down. Again, the outer points are wider than the bottom points. So you start in, go out, and come back in. And this one's really easy. It's just an upside down V, or the start to an arrow, or an A. And again, you can go as skinny or as wide as you like. So those are our first batch of petals. And I'm going to go through one more, and then in the next section, we'll put everything together. So I'm just going to go to my next layer, and I'm drawing on a new layer on the top. So this one is very similar to our 8. It's just more exaggerated at the top, almost like a foam finger. This one is just lots of little bumps, and you're following that V shape, but you are adding almost like an ear of corn or some cotton candy, and you can change the number of bumps, but I just try to keep it symmetrical with the same number on each side. Now, speaking of symmetry, this one is a little bit different. You just add some wiggles, and you can take that generic U shape and turn it into something else. So we can take our wiggly, I can't remember what I called it, the soft bumps, and mix with almost like our flame shape, and so you get an asymmetrical petal that kind of looks like those folds and natural elements of a flower. This is very similar to our M, but we're adding a deeper dip to it. So instead of a regular M where it would be like that, you're just rounding, but you are bringing those points at the bottom in closer. It's almost like a heart. Our bean is similar to our fan. We are just rounding those edges, and it's almost like two of our U's with just like a little connecting point at the top. Our circles, we've done these before. You can use the Procreate tools to make a perfect circle if you like. Our trumpet is almost like what a piece of bread looks like. So you go up, out a little bit, and back down. So if, you know, somebody was playing the trumpet, they have, I don't know what things they have, but they have that like little horn piece at the end. So it's almost like a T shape as well. You can do an actual heart shape. You just don't have the edges at the bottom touch. And again, you can adjust that shape once you get comfortable. This one I'm calling a question mark. It reminds me, there's this like cartoon drawing where someone's like, it's like beans talking, I don't know, and they're just like, what? That's what I think of when I see this one. But basically you start with that curve like you're going to do your regular arch, and then you just add like you're doing a question mark. And this one is asymmetrical. If you wanted to make it symmetrical, you could, and it would be almost like a more rounded version of that trumpet. An asymmetrical leaf is just start like you're doing our pointed arch, and then add almost like that flame element to the side. So up, and then you just do a little squiggle. A symmetrical version, you're just going to add that squiggle on both sides, so it's almost like a zigzag. You can make it pointier or rounder depending on the look you're going for. And then for the last one, I just did some minis, and these are really great if you're doing tiny flowers or layered flowers, but they have like a little point at the top and the bottom, and you can use them for detailing, for adding dimension, or just for creating a cute little flower. So that is 24 different petal options for you. Practice these, and then next week I will be back and we will be putting our petals on our flower centers and getting started with the practice pages.